I also was really struggling with arranging until a single technique completely transformed my music, making it easy to keep the listener engaged through the entire song. I call it the Cater technique. C-A-T-R. It's an ugly acronym, but it works. Okay, the first thing you're gonna wanna do is have a loop. Something you created, 8, 16 bars, whatever it is, have it ready. Here's my loop that we're gonna use today. And I'm gonna show you using the Cater system how to turn this into a full song. And it's not gonna take very long either. C-A-T-R. Step 1, the first letter is curiosity. This refers to the very beginning of our song, the first 8, maybe even 4 bars. And the whole point of this first section is to create curiosity in the listener. You need to instantly pick their attention and within a couple of seconds get them hooked on what's gonna happen later. So the way I usually start my arrangements is by putting markers on my project. So I can already kind of map out the entire song and then I kind of just have to go in and fill in the blanks. So the beginning is gonna be curiosity or intro. Usually I might just label it intro, but right now I'm explaining it to you, so I labeled it curiosity. I'm gonna take the entire loop that I have with all the elements, duplicate it, so now we can just focus on this first part, the curiosity intro, and get that sounding nice. The first thing we're gonna do is delete a bunch of layers. We don't wanna start already with the energy up here, because the whole point of a good arrangement is that it takes you on a ride, is that it builds up and then it releases. Build tension, release tension, build emotion, release emotion. So if you already start up here, you got nowhere to go. So I'm gonna get rid of the kick. I'm gonna probably get rid of most of the drums. Let me see if we wanna keep any of the drums. Now, if you're working on this and at any point you find yourself wanting to dive deeper into building melodies, bass lines, and even mixing, you need to check out my free 5-day bootcamp where I'm gonna help you out with all of that. I left a link in the description. It's 100% free. Go check it out. Honestly, I think I'm gonna get rid of all these drums. All these big synth layers down here. These are too much right here at the beginning. The thing is that I don't want to give away everything I've got. So you always have to keep a couple of tricks up your sleeve. Like the most exciting parts need to come a little bit later. Kind of just give them the bare minimum just to get excited. Let's see where we're at now. I like that. Okay, those first few bars definitely pique my curiosity and make me excited, make me want to know what comes later. Now, there's definitely going to have to be some work to be done on the transition between sections, but we'll worry about that later. Right now, I'm just trying to lay out the structure. Okay, so we did curiosity. Let's move on to the A. Step 2, anchor. A lot of people refer to this part as the hook, the drop, the chorus, whatever you want to call it. I like the word anchor. The reason why is because the hook is actually going to come later for me. We use the beginning of the song to build curiosity. We got to give them a little bit of a payoff, but not the full payoff yet. I want to give them just enough to get that feeling of like, wow, this is a great song, but I want my anchor section to finish almost like too soon. I want to leave them wanting more. So when I bring it back later in my hook, my fully developed chorus, they're like, yes, finally, he brought it back. So once again, I'm going to write down my marker. This is going to be the anchor, and I'm going to keep it 8 bars long, just like the intro. Now, obviously the lengths might change a little bit depending on your song, but the structure of curiosity, anchor, that stays exactly the same. So for my anchor, I am going to go in and delete some layers just like I did earlier, but I'm going to leave a lot more. Still though, I want to keep some cool parts from the listener. I don't want to give it to them yet, so that when we bring it back, it's going to hit even harder. So I'm going to get rid of this bass. We don't need that. I'm going to get rid of this ambient guitar. I don't think we need that. Obviously, we're going to bring back all our drums. This groove is nasty, by the way. Okay, then I have 2 choirs here. The first one is an octave up and the second one is an octave down. This is the low one we used in the intro already. So I'm actually gonna get rid of that and I'm just gonna keep the higher one. Which when I put it with the drums, yeah! Bring back some of these synths. Maybe this one too. Okay, so I don't know about you, but I got to the end of that loop expecting there was gonna be another one. Like I just got into this big groove and I'm feeling all excited. And instead of playing it again for them, we're gonna do the exact opposite. Step number 3, tension. So instead of giving them the hook again, instead of building on that anchor, on that feeling that we created in the listener, we're gonna rip it away from them. And we're gonna go into our third section, which could be a verse, could be a breakdown, anything like that, where we're literally gonna strip it back down to a bare minimum. Create my section, call it tension. And the idea here is really that to keep a listener engaged, to keep a listener hooked, you have to create a roller coaster of emotions. One of the biggest mistakes that I see all my students making whenever I'm reviewing their music is that they build their arrangement like this. They start small, they get a little bigger, they get a little bigger, they get a little bigger, and it just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Now, even though technically that sounds good because it's like, well, it's getting bigger, it's getting more exciting, it's getting more powerful, whatever emotion you're trying to go for, there's a huge problem with that. And before I tell you what that problem is, I just wanted to let you know that if you also want to learn music production from me, get feedback, access all my video courses, and tons of learning resources and weekly community events, I left you a link at the top of the description, or you can also scan this QR code right here. Feel free to check it out. And here is the huge arranging problem I was telling you about. And so if you keep building every 8 or 16 bars by just adding more layers to what you already have, your brain never gets excited. You never get that feeling of like, whoa, something big happened. It always just kind of feels like, okay, it's going, and then it's going nowhere though. So the key to creating a good arrangement that creates a lot of emotion is to have big energy jumps, tension. The goal of this section right after the first anchor is to rebuild that tension. It's the uphill before the drop. So we're gonna remove a lot of stuff here. We're gonna remove the 808s. I'm gonna completely remove the choirs, which are kind of like the hook melody of the whole song. Honestly, I might even remove all these synths, and I'm gonna use the bass line here as sort of my new hook for this tension part. Yeah, I really like that. So actually, I'm just realizing right now, one thing that I want to do is layer that bass that I have, which is a really cool part. I want to also layer it with a guitar. And I haven't recorded this yet. So this is another sort of bonus perk of arranging stuff like this with this mindset, is that you will immediately notice where there's gaps. You'll immediately know where there's parts that should be there, but weren't there at the beginning. Like in this part where it feels good, but it's not building enough, it's missing a layer. So I'm gonna actually duplicate this tension part so that the first half we can keep it like this just with the bass, but then we can add a little guitar and build up just a little step more. Let me get the guitar, this is gonna take 2 seconds. Here we go, 2, 3, 4. Yeah! Just following the bass. Oh yeah, that's nasty. Okay, so we have 16 bars right here where we've been building the tension. Now we're approaching the top, the highest point of the roller coaster right before the drop. And usually I like to add a little bit of the intro there, a little bit of the curiosity. I probably don't need the whole thing, maybe just half of it. We're at the top, at the peak of tension, right before the drop. So I'm gonna filter out these 4 bars even more to really give you that feeling at the top of the roller coaster where you're like, you're holding your breath, ready to go down. Building, building, building. Woo! Bam! Perfect! And then straight into the drop. So we built curiosity. We anchored our song with the best main idea we have. We built tension. And now step 4, release. This is the roller coaster drop. So up to this part, our listener got teased. And really, if you built this right, they're just waiting. They're waiting for that drop. They're waiting for that emotional release. And if you paid attention through this whole video, I rarely talk song sections like verse, chorus, because these are kind of debatable. But the one thing that is never debatable is human human emotion. The one thing that's always consistent across genres, across different types of beats, whatever kind of music you make, the emotion and the roller coaster that kind of carries that emotion, that's always gonna stay the same. And that's why when I'm arranging and also when I'm just creating music, I rarely think about song structure, I think about emotion. What do I want the listener to feel at this particular moment in the song? So okay, in order to create our release, our drop, we're gonna copy the anchor. We already built that earlier, so we don't need to do that again. So this time around, we want to show the listener that there's more, because they already heard this hook. And yes, they were waiting for it from earlier, but they already heard it. So we're going to duplicate it. We're going to have it repeat twice. And the second time around, we're going to bring back some more layers from our tension part, maybe from our curiosity, our intro, or even a brand new layer if we wanted to. For example, I feel like I'm going to bring this bass. It's gonna be a lot of bass, but honestly, because we're building and building, I think it's gonna make it sound really big. Only the second half of our release hook. Yeah! I wonder if the guitar would work too. Yeah! Sick, I love that. Now obviously because we added more layers and I haven't really mixed this yet, there's gonna be some mixing work to be done to make sure that everything fits and there's no elements fighting each other or anything like that. But right now we're focused on arrangement, not mixing. And I think that bass and guitar coming back from our tension section and just coming back into the chorus, I think is gonna feel really good. Also just now I'm thinking we could add some sort of hi-hat loop as well. Some sort of percussion loop actually. Yeah, just like that. Pitch it up. Let me test it with the rest of the drums. Okay, so at this point you might be asking yourself, well, we're a minute 50. Is this the end of the song? We went through the Cater, C-A-T-R. What now? Well, I know I keep going back to the roller coaster analogy, but it fits perfectly. What happens after a big drop? The crazy one with like all the swirls and all the twirls. And then what? You start back at the beginning. A well-built roller coaster is gonna bring you right back to curiosity and restart the entire system once again. Now, check this out real quick. Imagine the roller coaster repeated exactly the same. Like literally, it went back to the beginning and you just did it a second time. It's not gonna hit as hard because you know what's coming up, you know where all the turns are, you know what's happening. And the same thing is gonna apply to music. If you just take this whole thing and copy it over twice, the second time around is just gonna be like, all right, I get it. And for a lot of songs that might even work, especially if you have vocals, because the vocals are gonna change, the words are gonna change, and that's gonna kind of carry the change. But still, even if you have vocals, and especially if it's an instrumental, you need to build that curiosity, that anchor, that tension, and that release a little bit differently, just a little bit differently. Just enough to keep the listener hooked through another repeat of the entire structure. So it doesn't just feel like they restarted the song and listened to it again, but it feels new. And there's a really easy way to do that I'm gonna show you right now. So let's take our whole song so far and just duplicate it. The reason why I want to duplicate it is because honestly, we built these sections pretty well. So the emotion is there. We just need to kind of refresh it, give it a new coat of paint. And okay, of course, you're probably thinking the most obvious way to do that is just to either add layers or to just switch out the instruments you already have for different sound. And those two ideas are obviously fine, but at that point, you're really like reworking the whole song, which is great, it's fine, but you might not want to do that every time. And so this is a little trick that I've developed over the years that is really, really fast and usually gets you really good results. So this is where it restarts, right? This is our curiosity back at the beginning. So I'm gonna take some of the elements of my song and I'm gonna pitch them an octave up and an octave down. I'm basically going to invert. Everything that was down low, I'm gonna bring it up, and everything that was up high, I'm gonna bring it down. It doesn't work every time, but you'd be surprised how many times that just makes the song feel completely new on the second repeat, even though it literally is the same thing. So okay, for our intro here, we had the bass. Let's bring that an octave up. We had this guitar ambience thing. I think we can bring that an octave down. And then we had our choir. Now everything together. And maybe we could even bring the guitar from the sort of tension part. Another thing we could even do is add crashes to the guitar hits just to give it even a different energy with the smallest possible amount of effort. And this is not because I'm trying to be lazy or anything. Really, it's because I don't want to destroy the song that I just built. I really like what I built and I want to keep the same energy. I just want to make it exciting all over again. So the changes don't have to be big. Maybe with a big like stomp. Yeah. Could even have a marching snare. And what I would do if I was actually finishing the song is go through each section: curiosity, anchor, tension, and release, and do that exact same process. Now that you have a method to create arrangements, you might want to start building more interesting chord progressions. And if you watch this video up here, I'll show you my favorite technique to build interesting, unique chord progressions every time. All right, I'm done. Bye.